Well, we're at the Secular Student Alliance Conference with Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah, glad to have you here. You're from San Antonio, I think you said?
Yeah, San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, also, okay. And tell me why you're here or how you got here. Maybe I'm more interested in your sort of biography, autobiography.
Yeah. Well, I'm a senior at University of Texas at San Antonio. I'm a film studies major.
Oh.
Hoping to be a linguistics minor, but that's not completely done yet.
Yeah.
So
Are you planning to do what's your real interest in film studies? What would you hope to be able to do?
I'd like to be a writer-director. I know it's a difficult industry, so we'll see if that actually happens, but that's the goal. I figure might as well try first.
Have you produced any short films or anything while you were in school?
Yeah, I've worked on some in assistant capacities, and I directed one for a project this past semester.
Okay, nice.
So yeah.
So you have how much time left?
Time left for, in college?
Yeah.
I think about 3 semesters at least, maybe 4.
Okay. So you still have some of your best classes probably?
Yeah, I think so.
Film studies type classes?
Yeah.
Do you have a hands down, this film really inspired me to be interested in directing kind of experience or no?
I have a few of those, but
What would be one?
I think the original Spider-Man films, with Tobey Maguire,
Okay.
Spider-Man's 1, 2, and 3.
The original ones, not the more recent ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched those on DVD a lot when I was a kid, and I didn't quite realize until I was older how much they impacted me.
Yeah. Ah, nice. Oh, I forgot. This is for the recording.
That's all good.
So they can get the audio. You know what that is, right? Because you do film studies.
Yeah.
So you grew up you had any kind of religious context or no?
I would say so, yeah. My parents were both Episcopalian Christian. They didn't start out that way. My mom was raised Catholic. Catholic, particularly she comes from a Mexican Catholic family.
Mexican Catholic, all right.
Yeah.
And when you say, what does that add to it, to say that?
I don't know, except maybe it just adds like a more cultural...
Extra Catholic?
maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe a cultural perspective from it.
Yep.
How it's like ingrained into more certain aspects of the Mexican identity, like race, food, culture, language.
Yeah.
So, but she wasn't as devout as her parents. So, when she grew up and she met my dad said he didn't really want to be a Catholic. So, and she wasn't that attached to it. So, they both decided to go to an Episcopalian church, which I described to other people when they have questions as like a diet soda version of Catholicism.
That's pretty good.
Because it has a lot of the same tenets, but not always certain extreme aspects of it.
Which would name one extreme aspect in your mind?
They don't allow female people to be priests.
Okay.
They allow that in the Episcopalian church.
Got it. All right.
Yeah. So I was raised in that for most of my life.
And your parents were married while you were growing up? They weren't divorced or anything?
Yeah, no.
Yep.
They're still married. I think they have a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's wonderful. Seriously.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, so I always went to church with them. I never particularly liked going. I don't think
Really? As a young
No, I don't think that was
person, you didn't love church?
No, I don't think that was an indication of atheism yet. I think it was just I was bored and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But
I literally remember sitting in a Catholic church when I was really young.
Yeah.
I was more atheist and secular after my parents divorced.
Yeah.
Didn't really believe anything after that. But when I was really young, I remember thinking, because I was big into Spider-Man, and you were talking about Spider-Man, I was thinking like, if I were Spider-Man, and I would just spend the church service working through the beams of the church, like the route I would follow with the webs and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I was bored.
Yeah, they had these little drawing pads that were meant for children who were like 5 or 6, and I drawn those well to my teenage years.
Yeah. To my teenage years. Nice.
Yeah. So I stopped going kind of regularly.
But you weren't necessarily like, I don't believe any of this, or I'm consciously trying to scrutinize this and I reject it. That wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, just the practice of it kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, why do we have to keep going every week? So at a certain point, my parents, I think they just wanted me to stop moaning about it. So
Yeah.
when I was like 12, they said like, okay, you don't have to go as much, but we ask that you go to like what they considered to be the real important ones, like Easter, Christmas, Mother's Day, stuff like that. So that was the deal for a while. And when I was like 16 or 17, I started thinking more about, I guess, what I actually thought about religion. And I think I started out more agnostic. I don't know if that's because I was agnostic or if it was easier for me to digest than being full-on atheistic.
Yeah.
But when I was like 18, I think I fully recognized with myself, I don't think I believe any of this.
Yeah. And what was any particular influence or just introspection?
I think introspection, I have a lot of time inside my head, probably too much. So I guess there's certain things, and I wasn't going to church, so I think maybe some separation helped with that. Just think about like how did it appear in hindsight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
I guess certain things from a
Go ahead.
from a moral perspective didn't make certain sense. I feel like a lot of atheists probably have similar complaints, like why would a loving God flood the entire world?
Yeah.
Like why can we do all these tests for gravity and light and physics, but we can't replicate anything that was done back whenever?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of a scientific, critical way of looking at things.
yeah, so more things started to like, I guess, grind that implicit belief I was raised with, and I was like, I had to define it for myself.
Yeah. Did you think that there was also some stuff that was, I guess, a good side of things that God did, or was that not really much of a focus? Like the story of Jesus is God came in the world and died for us.
Yeah.
Or there's hope for the world because there's resurrection from the dead and there's salvation and forgiveness and things like this.
Yeah.
Or did those things just kind of seem trivial or not that important?
I think because I was raised in it, it seemed very trivial. Like I just took it all for granted, and I was like,
Yeah.
like I kind of just assumed. I thought of it almost like a history class, and I don't like history.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, this happened.
You don't like history?
Or maybe the way it's taught.
Okay.
So maybe just like this happened. We all know it happened. Let's stop talking about it.
Right.
So I kind of just assumed everyone grew up in that same type of environment I did.
Yeah.
So like some people, when I was like younger, I'd be like, some people like, oh, I did this on Sunday. It was like, you weren't at church on Sunday?
Yeah.
Right. Like it was and I made friends with more people of different religions or lack of religions. I guess my first friend who was an atheist when I was like 12, 13. And I was a bit shocked to figure that out, and it was hard for me to comprehend. Not because I held anything against his beliefs, just because that wasn't necessarily a possibility in my mind at that time.
I mean, belief in God is a pretty big belief, right? Because it's like, I would describe it like a horizon line.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a horizon, you would fall over a lot because your visuals, as soon as you lose your horizon, so belief in God provides that to people. Yep. So when they don't have belief in God anymore, they tend to feel a little bit like, now what? Where am I anchored?
Well, it can be hard.
Did you go through that? Are you going through that?
I guess to an extent. I do admit, I do think some nice parts about religion and church is that the sense of community it brings, and it is something, I guess, abstract you can hold on to keep you grounded.
Yes.
Which, to an extent, I kind of wish I still believed certain aspects of Christianity, but if I'm honest with myself, I don't. It would just be because it's something nicer to believe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think we can pretend to believe stuff we don't believe.
Yeah.
We can be highly motivated to go along with something.
Yeah.
But that's different from believing it like internally. Mm-hmm. If I told you, I'll give you $500 million to believe I'm actually a cat.
Yeah.
It won't work. There's no amount of motivation that will make you actually believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still take the money, but.
Oh, sure. You'd pretend as best you could.
Yeah.
Right? But you wouldn't actually believe it. So then I don't really think people actually normally do that.
Yeah.
In fact, I think belief means belief is judging something to be true.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So even if the judging involves like some sort of commitment that I can't know for sure.
Yeah.
Right. There's all things about the universe you can't really know for sure, but you kind of believe it.
Yeah. That was a big turning point for me. The fact what you just said, like the fact that you can never be 100% sure that there was a God.
One way or the other, I think.
Which I think that's just more about how I operate as a person. Like I operate very logically and analytically, whether sometimes it's a detriment, but it's the way I operate. And I guess it always kind of bugged me that like I'm not willing to take that leap of faith.
So then you would describe yourself as agnostic then?
Yes and
because atheism
Yeah.
right, seems more definitively saying you are asserting something's true.
Yeah. Well, the way my friend described it once was that, like, from a religious perspective, you would put agnostic because, technically speaking, you cannot prove that's what you would believe. You don't think it can be proven. Whereas from a philosophical standpoint, I would still assert myself as an atheist. Just because, like, technically, I cannot prove whether or not there is a God, but I'm not going to assert there is one.
Yeah.
So I would...
Pragmatic atheist, I guess. Philosophical agnostic.
Yeah. So in simple terms, I would say atheist, but agnostic atheist is more correct, but atheist is probably easier to understand.
Either way, you don't believe in God. You don't believe God's there. Did you then go, like... did you, at some point you're like, well, I don't believe this is true, but what do I think? Like, what did you then think about it, and how did you come to that? Did you think, well, Jesus, I guess, was just, what did you think of that? Or what influenced the way you thought about it after that?
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, nothing, I guess, that positive that I may have took away from the Bible, like, necessarily went away. And, like, any good lessons that could be taken away from that, like, in fact, I don't think morality comes from the Bible as much, which is what some people think, but I do like certain tenets of it. Like, there's this one thing, I don't remember what chapter and verse, I think it was in Corinthians, where, like, you should do good things and no one should see them for them to be truly good. I always like that tenet. I'm not sure if the Bible really created that, but I know sometimes people need that extra, I guess, push to do the right thing.
Yeah. It's an interesting question, by the way. Like, what's actually truly unique to the Bible in terms of Jesus' teaching or the moral teachings in the Old Testament, you know?
Yeah.
And clearly some things are, like, morality itself is universal.
Yeah.
There's not, or people don't live amorally.
Yeah.
Human beings don't live amorally. We're moral creatures. So, obviously, that's true everywhere. But not everybody's, the way Julius Caesar looked at his destruction of France, was definitely different from the way some of the moral framework was in the Bible. Yeah. In terms of, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if Caesar lost much sleep over killing
I think
the scale of killing.
Yeah, I think the morality is subjective to everybody.
Okay.
Which I guess...
Like all of it?
Technically speaking, yes. That doesn't mean I still have principles that I go with, and I would be...
Well, most of us agree on a lot of common things morally, right?
Yeah.
I doubt our moral lives in terms of, like, I'm just kind of assuming that you're not, like, stealing your neighbor's laptops. I'm not.
Yeah, like
You probably think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, like there's still things that, like, even though I don't think it's part of the universal code, I would still be horrified if you did them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I guess that was something I started thinking about, like, because I guess how religion for me intersected with philosophy in good and evil.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I thought about how, okay, so if in my eyes Christianity is not real, like God isn't real, then that means that means nothing he said would technically be the law of the universe. It would just be the way we view it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the way I think of it. Like, everyone has their own morality and morals, and however that forms, I think it's just a product of nature and nurture. And because there's nothing you can empirically do to prove that something is wrong. A lot of people may hate it. Okay, but like murder, I personally think is wrong, but, like, I could not scientifically prove that.
Yeah. It's
just a widely held, for good reason, opinion.
Yeah. I've tried to say this. I don't know if this will be clearer to you than I'm not sure I'm good at trying to express this next thing I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But my view is that most people live as if their moral views on at least the biggest things, are truly, objectively, absolutely true.
I would say that's accurate.
Like, it's the way it feels. Like, if you said to me, hey, in 150 years, it'll be okay if you murder a 3-year-old toddler who gets in your way at the mall.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think you and I would both agree that if that's the case in 150 years, that people think that, then they're wrong.
Yeah.
Even though we're not living in their culture. We're just saying, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
And we think it's wrong, like, beyond just my own personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think context for the time and places you live in is extremely important when talking about certain moral arguments.
Some.
Yeah.
And other things seem like they're transcending any
Yeah.
time. You could tell me 500,000 years from now that, I mean, obviously in the Aztec world, they had human sacrifice of captives, and not all captives, but of captives. And I would be like, this is just horrible on any moral scale.
Yeah.
Like, it's never right, ever.
Yeah, I mean, but they probably didn't think of it that way.
They didn't. But I would think they were wrong in a kind of way that is not just my private subjective opinion.
Yeah.
It's not just because I live in America in the 21st century,
Yeah.
but because it was truly in some way wrong. Like this is what I mean. It's almost like there's some layer of reality, moral reality, which is independent from any people living in their particular context.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, keep in mind, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to prove that's true.
Yeah,
I'm saying it feels like that's the case.
Yeah, I get that. I don't think I necessarily believe in that, but I do think there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, that's why we have laws, such as stuff that we've more or less agreed on we should or should not do.
Yeah.
Much as that we have different flaws and we keep revising them over the years.
Yeah. But if like the Aztec laws came about over a long period of time too, and I would still sort of be like, it was wrong. Something was wrong that they had that.
Yeah, I get that,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to judge too harshly. Not that because I agree with their actions, only just because I wasn't in that time period at that place.
And there's something to that for sure.
It's like I don't know what I would have done. I'm not gonna sit here
Oh,
and say.
I wasn't claiming I would have been different.
Yeah, no.
I do not claim that I would have been morally superior to whatever particular
Yeah, no, I get
generation
that.
I lived in if it was different.
Yeah.
What about have you, in this process, at some point said, I really need to read like who are the thinkers in history who've provided the best arguments for God? I should really weigh those. Like Aristotle provided an argument for God. I should really learn about that. At least watch a 30-minute YouTube video on that. Has that ever been a part of your experience or not really?
It's been some thoughts percolating, but
It's okay if it hasn't. I'm just curious if it has.
yeah. More stuff, I guess, to reinforce my own opinions, whether that's good or bad. Just like,
Yeah.
just
But
like,
it's honest.
Yeah, like how can I explain to other people?
Yeah.
Even though I guess all the real reason, I guess, when you boil it down to is like I just don't believe it.
Yeah. It's just more of a subjective thing.
Like there's a lot of stuff in my favor, I think, that can help explain it, but the reason why I'd be doing that is because I personally don't believe it for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I actually think the XYZ is really, really hard to know, even of your own belief.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Drew and I, of course, in the Divine Podcast, have probed each other quite a bit.
Yeah.
And have ended up having to probe. We're trying to probe each other. We're trying to probe ourselves. And I think I tend to think it's a mystery. Like there's intellect, there's will.
Yeah.
So like there's reason, there's will, and then there's belief. Okay,
Yep.
which belief is a part. A lot of people who are atheists tend to think this is bad, but belief is a part of everything. Like you can't get away from it, because if nothing else, right? First of all, this is not controversial in terms of the philosophical world. They call them properly basic beliefs. Like, of course, the very definition of knowledge in the philosophical world is warranted belief.
Yeah.
So belief's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. It's just whether there's warrant for it or whether, that kind of thing. And there's a gazillion things you and I accept just because it's experts.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid to say that. There's a ton of people who are sitting in Vegas this afternoon, and they believe that they're going to win something.
They do, yeah.
And I would say that's reckless belief. It's belief, but it's reckless. I'd rather believe less recklessly than that.
Yeah.
So belief and intellect and will are all a part of what ends up directing us. And how do they relate to one another? I don't know. Like, how much is my will affecting what I believe? How much is my intellect? They're all affecting it, but how much is a little bit of a mystery to me. That's kind of my. Do you? have a like, are you familiar with naturalism versus like materialism and things like that, or?
I think so. Refresh my memory.
It's okay. If I'm having to refresh your memory, then I don't have a question for that. Have you ever read Thomas Nagel's What It Means to Be a Bat?
No.
No. Okay. Have you ever heard of the hard problem of consciousness? Why am I doing this to you? You're thinking, why am I doing this? Why is he doing this? Why is he asking these questions?
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I'm just not sure I know what it is.
It's really interesting. The hard problem is about like what. Okay, so let me go step back. One of the great debates, right, about the world is the world all material, or is there an immaterial layer to it?
Yeah.
Okay, so mathematics. Some people think mathematics is just a projection from our own mind of how to interpret the world.
I would agree with that.
Other people think, no, mathematics is a real thing, like Plato. It's a real part of the universe, but it's immaterial.
Yeah.
It's not God, like the way, no, I'm trying to say that.
No, I
but
get that.
It's immaterial, right? Morality, for a lot of people, the way they think, well, there is something immaterial about the universe that is a moral framework we somehow are a part of, and it's not atoms and chemistry. It's immaterial. Okay. Consciousness is part of that debate, right? Everybody knows that your mind is connected to your brain.
Yeah.
But is your mind just material, just chemistry, or is there something immaterial about it? Consciousness.
Yeah.
So this is a huge debate. And they call it a hard problem. And it's hard because it's uniquely difficult to try and say it's just material.
Yeah.
Even though there's a lot of people who think it's just material, right? But this is an ongoing debate. It is not a settled debate within the scientific world. And that's a little bit of fingernails on a chalkboard if you're a materialist.
Yeah.
Because your inclination is to say everything's material, so consciousness must be material. But the philosophers are like, no, it's not so. It's trickier than you think to show that and to demonstrate that. Hence, they call it the hard problem. And it leaves open the question of maybe there is an immaterial part of reality and so on. That's why.
Yeah.
And Thomas Nagel, all the way back to Thomas Nagel, he wrote an article called, he's an atheist, called What It's Like to Be a Bat, in which he tries to show that consciousness maybe is something that is immaterial. Because he's not a strict materialist as an atheist. So that's what I was asking. And it's a really fun article to read if you've never read it. It's actually really interesting because he goes on to explain, like, what would it really be like to be a bat? And he's showing you in the article, you think you can imagine what it's like to be a bat. You cannot. And he shows why a human could never imagine what it was like to be a bat. And in our normal day, if someone said, could you imagine what it's like to be a bat? We say stuff like that. Can you imagine what it's like to be... And we think we can, but we actually can't.
Yep.
I'm not saying whether you. I'm not telling you you can't.
I mean, I know we can
saying
try.
that's his argument. You can't, and he does. It's a really interesting one. And again, it's from an atheist.
Yeah.
I think the Christian way, Albert Plantinga. I think his way of describing it was, I can imagine what it's like to be in somebody else's body. But I cannot imagine what it's like to be somebody else's body.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
It's his way of saying that consciousness is separate from material. It's his way of trying to show it. It's a really nice little quippy way.
Yeah.
Whether it stands up to philosophical scrutiny, you'll have to go read the philosophers.
Yeah,
but
it sounds cool.
but it's interesting. So what's sort of like the biggest influence in terms of all the great moral debates, abortion or euthanasia or a gazillion other things? Like what then become your influences?
Like what informs my opinion about them?
Yeah, like what are the things that tend to inform your opinion the most, do you think?
It's partially friends. I think a lot of it is my parents. I think I've had a lot of debates with them.
Yeah.
Like my dad and his father, before he passed away, he said that he wanted to be, like, they were like both debate type people.
Yeah.
And like, so they wanted to talk to each other about everything, and unintentionally or not, I feel like I'm the same way. So a lot of times if my dad and I get into a topic, we can spend a couple of hours diving down that rabbit hole of what we believe and why.
Yeah.
and we still hug each other at the end of the night because my dad's very good at that type of stuff.
That seems very healthy.
Yeah, like
a lot of sons could barely talk to their dad.
Yeah.
For very long about anything that they might not agree about or that is controversial.
Yeah, and there's things the opinions of my dad's school that I definitely don't agree with. Like, he's still an Episcopalian Christian.
Yeah.
Christian. I do think that was the reason I felt comfortable, I guess, expressing my atheism to the way that I did. Like, It was a little, I guess, potentially scary at first. Like, I knew they would still love me, but like I didn't know they would still love me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But no, they're very supportive about it. They've always encouraged me to look at different opinions, even if it's something to disagree with, just so I could figure stuff out for myself.
Yeah. Seems like that's really healthy.
Yeah.
Obviously, not all Christian parents are like that.
Yeah, I realize I'm very fortunate in that regard.
Well, listen, I'm a parent and a grandparent, and there's a deep desire to want to feel like you have some control over what your kids think.
Yeah.
But the reason is because you just want them to be happy and healthy, and you're afraid they'll buy into some madness, you know?
Yeah.
But in reality, right, when you're a kid growing up, you're like, well, they can't control what I think and believe, you know?
Yeah.
But parents, they just, you know, they want somehow to help you believe what they think would be the healthy, happy things, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to let go.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you can't, like I said, what do you want them to do? Pretend to believe something they don't really believe? I mean, whether they believe it is, you have very little control, and what control you have, I would have no idea how that works.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really steer like you think you can't steer the car like you think you can.
Yeah.
But
I think it's all a learning process.
So that's been an influence in the sense that the conversations have influenced some of your moral outlook, because they challenge you and get you thinking about things and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, here, if you were pro-life, strongly pro-life, not for any religious reason, just because you were like, it's a human being, it's inviolable, it's sacred, would you feel free to promote that here at the SSA convention or conference?
I'm not sure it'd be a wise idea.
It wouldn't be well received.
Yeah.
But would you say that the general culture is that they're trying to be really inclusive and welcome different opinions?
Like them by coming here?
Just in general, the group, the community of SSA, you know, isn't inclusivity, diversity, and so on, like trying to be what?
Yeah. I think
But you're saying there are some opinions that are off limits?
I think there are certain tenets that, for good reason, we do hold strongly onto. I do think, for my specific chapter of the organization, I do think we could focus more on bridging the divide between, I guess, religious people and non-religious people.
Yeah.
But I know, also realize that sometimes certain members of our organization need more of a safe space, because religion or the way religion was utilized affected them very traumatically growing up.
Yeah.
And to be in that similar type of environment would not be healthy for them.
Yeah.
So I understand that argument too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is true. I mean, this is true.
Yeah.
There's some guys we interviewed for the podcast that are called Atheists for Liberty. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
So they used to be a part of the American Atheists, which is the largest atheist group. And they were kicked out or unwelcomed. This is their view. I'm not telling you this is what happened, because I don't know. I'm telling you that's what they told me. And they formed their own group. And the reason they ended up forming their own group was because, like Richard Dawkins, they started to raise questions as to whether, like, transgenderism is real. And that created a huge amount of tension and other things too. I think it was other things too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But you can listen to the podcast because we recorded them. And they were like, we pretty much, they wouldn't tolerate us, and so we ended up forming our own organization.
Yeah.
Does that sound like you've heard that before, or no?
I've heard that about Dawkins. I didn't know that about American Atheists. I knew there were some issues there.
Yeah. And and you've heard that about Dawkins too. Do you think Dawkins would be welcome to speak here, or no?
By some people, yeah. I don't think everyone is currently aware about the extent of certain his beliefs. I know when I still look for...
Assuming they were aware, would he be welcome here to speak, do you think?
I don't know. I think it'd be a mixed reception. I think that'd be those who would hold very strongly onto the beliefs that I don't think would hold value for a lot of people, but at the same time, he has been an inspiration and guiding figure in the non-religious community, and I do think, regardless of how you agree with him on, I guess, gender versus sexuality and gender identity, I do think there is a lot of stuff he could still say that would have merit.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Honest. Seems like that is kind of my impression too. That some of the people I talk to here, I think, would be very happy if he came in here and talked to other people.
Yeah.
But like the cancel thing is big everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Everybody seems like they're on thin ice. How do you, like in SSA, if someone came in they say, hey, I want to be a part of SSA. I'm a huge Trump guy. Mm-hmm. Is that going to work practically, or is it going to be a problem?
I think it would probably be a problem. Like, the organization.
Even if they're like, I'm totally irreligious, like I'm secular, but I'm a huge Trump supporter.
Yeah. I think there'd be a lot of, I guess, discussion with certain members. Like, there's nothing preventing that from happening.
Yeah.
Like in our Constitution, like we don't say, oh, you support Trump.
I mean, practically, would that be probably a...
Practically, I think it'd be very difficult to have activities where we talk to them a lot from a group perspective.
Okay.
Like individually, it might be easier, but...
What would be like if you had to pick one thing, why? Because obviously Trump is, to people like me, I don't think of Trump as a particularly religious person. I don't know why anyone would think he is a very religious guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are some people out there that are supporters of Trump that think he's maybe become deeply religious or something. I have no idea.
I guess so.
But I mean, nothing in his life gives any strong indication that he's very personally devout religious man. Yeah. And there's plenty of evidence to indicate the opposite is true, that he's just kind of enjoyed his wealth and he's tried to live, like responsibly in the sense of like he's not a criminal out there. Oh, well, I forgot he just got convicted.
Yeah.
Well, even that, I mean, it's different or maybe that's not the right way. Anyway, that would just be further evidence.
Yeah.
It's to my point. Mm-hmm. So he's totally religious.
Yeah.
So what would be the thing you think that's the rub then? Like, why wouldn't he be welcomed into this secular world?
I think it would be a cross between maybe not what he personally believes. I'm not honestly sure if Trump holds any of the beliefs he preaches.
Right. I wonder that too.
Yeah. Like, I've heard
how much of it is what he really thinks.
I've heard, always hear like, oh, Trump's a racist. I'm like, well, that would imply he thinks certain races are better than others. I think he thinks everyone is beneath him, regardless of race.
My impression as well. So what would be the thing then that you think, or one or two things that would be like the rub, considering he doesn't seem very religious?
I think it would be the type of discrimination he encourages towards minority groups or protected classes of different races, ethnicities.
So that'd be a big one.
Yeah, sexual
anti-inclusive or whatever.
Yeah, and it's probably stuff over abortion rights, which again, I'm not sure. I haven't read his specific positions on them, but
he did appoint the Supreme Court justices who ended up tipping the scales.
Yeah, so I don't know if it'd necessarily be anti-Trump, just be anti what he represents.
That's a good way to answer it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true.
Because, I don't love the guy. I think he's not a good choice politically for anything, but, I've never met him. Maybe he's a wonderful person to hang out with.
How about Biden? Do you feel, because Biden has said some things that are actually, Biden's comments about race should be, you would think it would get him more in trouble than Trump's comments.
Yeah. I think.
Why does he get a pass?
Yeah.
Because he's on the right team?
Maybe so, yeah. I think there is certain, division, on whether or not we like Biden for a candidate, but I think regardless, we've chosen him as the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah. I suppose, too, just the policy, in some ways, it's not even the person anymore.
Yeah.
It's the policies.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to get policies, his policies are going to be more favorable to the minority groups, then the racial comments in the background matter less, because his policies will do more that you want than what Trump's policies will.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, I don't think it even matters, when you're campaigning for the nomination for your party, because once you get that nomination, regardless of whether or not you're a strict member, you become emblematic to all of those beliefs.
Yeah. I always tell people that the person Trump and the person Biden are just damn walls.
Yeah.
Meaning the wall of the dam. The wall itself is not that strong. It's all the water behind it.
Yeah.
That if it's strong enough to hold it back. But if it ever gave way, it would be, it wouldn't be the concrete coming down that would kill you. It would be all the power behind it.
Yeah, I get that.
In the electorate and so on. Well, really enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
You have a real common sense instinct to you.
Thank you.
So in a conversation like this, I feel like you're just telling me exactly what you think. You're not really trying to filter it through how acceptable is this going to sound. And I think I really value that. I like people who are authentic and just give what they think, and then, can reflect on it later.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed talking.
Great.